think what made it especially hard was we came right out of a visit where a doctor did nothing emotional, nothing connecting spiritual, nothing connecting in a human way.
It's like a robot.
Just any robot could have read that protocol and shared that information in a very similar fashion.
It's a day that I've been looking forward to, but also really nervous about. It's the first visit with my oncology doctor. This whole chemo thing has been looming over me hard, and I'm glad the ball is going to get rolling, but it's certainly a topic that makes me nervous. I don't think there's any reason to update on the body anymore. I think we did it. There's a little bit of, I think, water retention or something. The scars will get more faint, but yeah, we're a month out and got 5 hours of sleep again. Seems to be the most I can hope for at a time right now at night, but I'll keep working to get to 6. I feel my spirits are heavy. I'm gonna go pray, and thank you guys for all the encouraging words.
All right, you guys, so we just finished the oncology appointment here at the hospital, and it was a trip, to say the least. So we'll break it down, and I'll give you my perspective as the patient. I'll have Doc and Dad here give you some of his thoughts and perspective, maybe as the father / someone with a medical background, and we're just going to debrief. So first thing that pops into my head was that my visit was very much what my dad told me it might be, which is a standard of care based visit with very little room for deviation or exploration of other ways to support someone, me in this instance, having cancer and what we might do. And what I mean by that is they offered us chemotherapy. They offered us 2 versions of chemotherapy. One was oral and intravenous, and one was intravenous or infusion, and then you take it home with you and it is pumping on its own for a couple of days. And that was it. Those were our 2 options. They based the treatment off of colon cancer patients. They didn't have any information that would lead to any specificity for my cancer in particular, which was an appendix originated, or an origin of an appendix cancer, excuse me. I think I'll just start there and have you chime in, and then we'll go from there. I could say more, but...
Well, as we were walking out, I thought it was interesting that you said, there's nothing I can do with my diet that'll help make any difference.
Right.
It's not brought up. Vitamin C, all they could say was, well, you might get stones.
Right.
And I'm thinking, you have a cancer that could kill you, but you don't want to do vitamin C. You might get a kidney stone.
Yeah, to give you some context, I said, are there any alternative and or integrative approaches that might support my cancer treatment as far as the chemotherapy? And I brought up IV vitamin C infusions. Anytime we asked about anything, she very quickly would let us know that there's no evidence or data that she can draw to give us an answer. But she did say that, she has heard that vitamin C infusions can cause kidney stones. So she had something negative to say about that, but she didn't have any information positive. To be clear, she was perfectly nice, very calm. She encouraged us to continue to explore other options, meet with other providers. She gave us some time frames to let us know, and we'll talk about that more, that there is no immediate rush, let's say in the next day or 2 or a week or 2. We've got a little bit of time based on an 8-week typical time frame for starting chemo. But to just make it very simple, there was nothing to be said but we have this chemo or that chemo. Here are all of your side effects that you need to be aware of. And she didn't even mention, she said it kills rapidly dividing cells, but otherwise it wasn't like an uplifting, warm, hey, everything's going to be okay, for example, or it could be, this is why you need to do this, it's going to work great, this is how it's going to help you, here's what we're going to see happen after 3 months. Bless this doctor, she's doing her job, but it was effectively, it seemed like someone was reading from a script and there was no way to talk about anything else.
Yeah. It was, this is the protocol. I can't deviate it from, to the extent that we were interested in a PET scan.
Right.
You had a little tiny nodule in your lungs. Everybody's saying it's probably nothing. We know you had involved lymph nodes,
Right.
but we don't know for sure that we got them all.
Right.
Why not get a PET scan and just see? What if it showed something? And it was like, well, I don't think I can get that through insurance. And you pointed out, well, we'll pay for it. Well, that they probably won't even do it anyway, if it's not in the guidelines.
Yeah, there was no way to get a PET scan.
Yeah.
Even if we were willing to pay for it. And I thought I would be
That
tricky.
was shocking to me.
Yeah, I thought I would be tricky, and I said, listen, if this were you and your life was on the line, and you thought you could glean any information, there was any chance that what you learned from a PET scan could help you, would you do one? And most of her response to any question was kind of like a quiet pondering, followed by a, I don't think so, or it wouldn't be approved, or wouldn't be indicated. So I don't think she was in a position to really express any personal opinion. She did, however, say, which I appreciated, that that we might go to OHSU, which has a lot more potential information about my specific cancer. And I thought that was nice of her to be blunt. She's like, go up there, they will have seen this before, most likely. They might have other things to offer. They might even have different chemotherapy agents to offer, is how I took that.
Yeah.
Because she can only offer me the colon cancer treatment, which wasn't comforting to hear. We have a colon cancer treatment. We're just going to pretend that that's your treatment too.
Right.
We did jump into some statistics, survival rates, or cancer-free rates, showing that it's worse if you don't have chemo. But she was also pretty clear that I should not take any of this as gospel, because didn't seem to be any information about my specific cancer.
Yeah.
So it left us almost with more questions than answers.
I would agree.
Yeah.
We asked about immunotherapy. I mean, there's so much research happening in the world of immunotherapy for cancer. And she said basically, well, we tested yours and it's MMR negative,
Right.
which I don't know the definition of that, but they are markers for proteins that, in her words, if you're MMR negative, immunotherapy won't work. And I found that surprising, because there's some innovative things I'm aware of that we're going to learn more about,
Yeah.
where you take a person's actual cancer, which thankfully they're keeping the specimen,
For 10 years.
and we've got blood work coming.
Yeah.
And we'll probably go to other centers where they may have other markers that they're able to track. And I think we're going to learn more, but you can devise treatments that are specific for your cancer.
Yeah.
And that excites me.
Having no specificity for my cancer in any degree was not, it didn't make me feel good. I didn't like that there was no information about what was going on. But I do appreciate her encouraging us to get more information, seek other providers. Anyhow,
Well,
she did bring up the fact that most patients my age, with my background, with no comorbidities, with general health and physical wellness, they do tolerate chemo well. She did go over the potential of a bunch of side effects. I would say she spent the vast majority of the visit talking about chemotherapy side effects. So I don't know.
She did say, she threw out a number that easily 99% of everybody she's ever treated, and she acted like she treated a lot of patients with this protocol.
Tolerate it well.
Tolerated and survived
the protocol. But anyway, we didn't. It wasn't it wasn't a confidence building visit for me personally. It didn't make me think, okay, I have to do chemo here with her now. So I'm hoping we get to talk with someone who can maybe pull me aside and say, hey, I've seen this cancer. Here's how we're going to attack it. Kind of make me think we're on a team, as opposed to you're a cancer number in this cog, and we're going to throw you into it, and here's what we do. I'm trying not to be judgmental. They did show us what a port was, and right now you're seeing on the screen what I was able to film of a port which they put under your skin, which is what they use to draw your blood before starting your chemotherapy. And then effectively they hook up like what would be the equivalent of a fanny pack to you that runs the chemotherapy. So I got to see that. Maybe not as scary as I thought, but still surreal. They walked us into the infusion room.
What was your reaction to that?
It made me want to cry.
Yeah. So this massive room. I mean massive. There were probably 40 chairs.
Yeah.
And they were half filled with people hooked up to IV infusions. And in the middle was sort of
Nurses hub.
nurses hub, and they're surrounded by patients on both walls. Even just as a dad, I was like, whoa.
You know, that was heavy.
That was heavy. I mean, thankfully you're allowed to have somebody with you. But I was imagining how you might have been feeling when you saw that.
Yeah, it's just, I was telling my dad this morning that, you know, I process this in waves, and I have to distract myself in the healthiest way possible from over obsessing on the stark reality of the situation. I think I mostly do okay, but yeah, seeing the room and all the other cancer patients, and just being like, I don't feel like I belong here. And I don't mean that at all from like a I'm better than. It has nothing to do with anything like that. I meant like I don't feel sick. I'm relatively young. Like I could run a 5-minute mile right now if I had to. Like, how the hell am I here? And I felt bad for everyone in there, so I hope that's taken in the spirit it's intended. But it's just like, damn it, like
I think what made it especially hard was we came right out of a visit where a doctor did nothing emotional, nothing connecting spiritual, nothing connecting in a human way.
it's like a robot.
Just any robot could have read that protocol and shared that information in a very similar fashion. So you come out of that where there's no hope given, there's no specific, here's why we're going to do what we're going to do. And I mean, you walk out of that and then here's this massive room of people just plugged into their other robots. So look, son, that's not where you're going.
Even if it was.
Yeah, it's not where you're going.
I think you're right. That she was the least emotionally cognizant doctor we've met, but she wasn't not nice.
Oh, she was pleasant enough.
She was just flat and pleasant, and she offered no real perspective on things. But yeah, I think you're right. You probably nailed that.
Yeah.
It's just
we have so many options available to us. You know, your soul reacted. Your soul, your every cell in your body reacted to this, and it's telling you, no, I don't think so. This isn't my path. And that's why we're sharing with you all this journey. It's ups and downs, and it's not like at this point in time we know what we're doing. We want you to know that it is a journey. Those of you who are also on this journey or have been through this journey, it's so personal and individual, but we want you to know everything we can let you know about as far as other options, because mainstream cancer by protocol is not changing statistics. It hasn't for decades.
And there's so much pressure, I think, as the patient to get on chemo and do it fast, and there's so little time to understand why or what's going on or what happens if you don't, or what else is available to you. I mean, thankfully you and Progressive Minds and luckily you've helped me get plugged into other actual doctors, which I try not to overly obsess on credentials, but having other MDs who were traditionally educated in oncology and immunology who also now believe in integrative approaches is very comforting. But anyway, I'm not sure where I was going with that. But yeah, being a cancer patient is a very interesting experience and a very emotional experience for me. And it's very up and down in my ears. So I don't want to cry all the time. But it's like in little waves, you're just like, man, this is a lot.
Just for those of you who are watching who have gone mainstream and it's worked for you, That's awesome.
Amazing.
And it works for many people.
Yeah.
So we're not in any way saying we're not going mainstream.
No, we may very well.
We are looking at all our options.
Yeah.
We are doing everything in our power at this point to put cancer cells under duress.
Right.
So that they don't have a chance to just freely do whatever they do, right? Which is multiply. That's what cancer cells are good at, is rapid multiplication.
As far as what type of chemotherapy agent, we let her know, I suppose I just posited it as a hypothetical, but I said if we had blood work done, which we did, that was designed to identify all known chemotherapy agents in the database and how they might interact with my cancer being a goblet cell, appendiceal goblet cell adenocarcinoma, is there any room to adjust the type of chemotherapy being offered if there's medical research showing this one works better than that one? And the answer was very plainly no.
No. This is the protocol. It's
no
all
matter
we
what.
can do.
No matter what. Which I was like, whoa. I think, and I don't know this, but I think one way or another we will be doing some form of integrative oncology.
Absolutely.
I would be very surprised at this point, at least where we're at and what we've learned and what stage I'm at, that we jumped onto just a standard, here's your ticket, this is what you do protocol. But I say that from a space of honesty, not a space of arrogance or whatever.
Yeah, well, we're getting more information.
Yeah,
and that
excited
information
for the Seattle guy,
may well direct how we attack this
Yeah.
as far as the chemotherapy. So
And thank you for continuing to support the GoFundMe. If I've never felt more grateful to have that, and I feel no embarrassment or shame in having that in place, because this is exactly the appointment that reminds me, oh wow, my insurance will cover this,
just this.
and this is all they have to offer, and I'm an individual. And she was honest enough to say everyone's different. Every single person has different outcomes. Every single person has different responses to chemo. So she knows that everyone's different, and I know that there are other options out there. You guys have helped me see that there was way more room for individual treatment than what is presented in this specific medical cog. I am still grateful for this medical system. It obviously saved my ass with the surgery and the diagnosis, so I have nothing bad to say about it. I'm just glad there's other options. So I'm glad the GoFundMe exists, so I don't have to put a lien on my house or something that would be really hard on Jessie, my wife, and our family. You guys are just making it a little easier to be like, no, it's okay. Go pay for that consult. Go see that person. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We are looking at options that are ridiculously expensive, but potentially life-saving. We'll have a plan A, B, C, and D. And we may have to fundraise a lot more to get plan C or D.
Hopefully we don't need to go
and
to
hopefully
plan
we
C
won't
or D.
need there. But there's a lot to offer. We're in this for the long haul, folks, and thank you for being with us.
Yeah, and I'll document anything I learn. I'll give it away. Everything. My commitment in this journey is to be the most transparent cancer patient YouTube has ever seen. Not from a look at me, but just here's what's going on, take what you want, leave what you don't want, but just know that I won't hide anything.
There have been days on this journey where I felt tired, for sure. But on this given day, with the emotional energy that I brought into meeting the oncologist, I felt a fatigue so deep in my soul. And I'm glad I could finish my day at my gym, surrounded by people whom I care about and who deeply care about me, and just wanted to move and breathe and feel my body and feel my breath. Movement's always been good for that for me, but I will say this cancer journey and the fragility of my body, relatively speaking, post-surgery has certainly changed my motivations and my perspectives. I'm just grateful to be able to move at all, and I'm grateful for the mental relief and the emotional relief and the physical release it provides. I don't exactly know what's coming next, of course. I suppose none of us do. But I do know that I want to continue to carry myself in a way that makes me proud,
to carry myself in a way that I think my God would want of me, and to be as brave as I possibly can be. So thank you for allowing me to share my journey. Thank you for the wisdom, the testimony, the information, the support, and the kind words in the comment sections. And bless you all for being here and taking time out of your life. I don't take it for granted. I think I'm very fortunate to have you in my support system, and we'll keep putting one foot in front of the other. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you all are handling whatever life is throwing at you the best you can.